So, we're here with Justin Sandler,
Hello,
rock
everybody.
star, superstar, musician, actor, just an amazing person, vegan,
Thank you.
and just an amazing person, cancer survivor.
My business card should say rock star superstar. Now that you've given me that title, I'll take it.
That's your title. Here you go.
Hi, Justin Sandler, rock star superstar. Nice to meet you.
I mean, we met a while ago, actually, because of that video that you did, which I loved, where you were dressed up
right. Well,
and
I don't know if we necessarily met because of that. We knew each other.
We knew each other,
Right.
but then we
But that
actually
really
got to
connected
talk
us,
and
yeah.
connected. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then how cool that worked out because
That
that
worked so
song
well.
still was never released,
Yeah.
and I was never allowed to use it. And I had done this beautiful music video, and they gave me the footage, and
Yeah.
I needed to cut it to something. And your song was perfect, and because your vocals are so powerful and so anthemic.
Thank you.
And it really fit with this character, expressing themselves, and that was the whole goal. Is
Yeah.
I am who I am, and I'm not going to shy away from being me. And
Exactly. I
And,
love that so much. Where can people find that?
that's on my it's on my Vimeo and on my YouTube.
Okay.
So Justin Sandler, if you search me.
Yeah. Check it out.
Um,
It's really
And
awesome.
that song called My Time, right?
My time. Yeah.
So yeah, if you search My Time, and it's just a little music video using footage from another video and your song.
Yeah, and you
Um,
looked amazing in it, and I just loved.
Thank you.
The minute I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, I want to be involved with that."
Oh.
It was just really.
Yeah,
It spoke
I had a
to
feeling
me.
that you were going to be the right person just because
Yeah.
I know who you are
It
and,
spoke to me.
and what you stand for, and it's pretty admirable.
Thank you.
So,
Tell us about yourself and what you've gone through. Man, you have such an amazing story.
Mm.
I wouldn't even know where to start, but
yeah, where do we start? At the beginning?
maybe
Do wanna
you know
start
you
at
from
cancer
Chicago.
or from the beginning? From
Chicago
life?
to LA, and then we all come here to LA, right? It seems to be the place where everybody comes to live their dream, and
Yeah.
it doesn't always turn out the way we thought it would turn out, right? For me, at least.
Nothing ever turns out the way you think it would. But in the end, if your end goal is clear, you're still going to get there if you stay true to it.
Love that.
Just the journey from here to here is not going to go the way you thought it was going to go.
Yes.
And any like guru in the law of attraction world will tell you, like Mike Dooley is one of my mentors, and he always talks about don't mess with the cursed hows. Stop worrying about how it's going to happen because you can't predict that. You can't predict who's going to walk into your life or who's going to call on or what's going to fall upon you like an illness to change the entire trajectory of your life. So you have to say, these are the things I want. Ultimately, the big goals, the important goals, and why you want them has to be really true. Because if you want it just because, like, I want to be famous, well, that's not really a goal, right?
Right.
So why? I mean, fame comes with notoriety from achieving certain things. And for me, it's always been to be an artist and a performer, to help others, to bring light to the world where it's dark, and just to make it, make every day a better day and a better place for everybody, and while getting to live a fulfilling life doing my creativity. And I said, no, I don't know how it's all going to work out, but I'm going to get there. I grew up in Chicago in the suburbs. Childhood wasn't easy. I had my grandma fall through a really scary bad illness, and I had to witness that, and I really repressed a lot of my feelings from that, and I had trouble in school. I undiagnosed ADHD that I didn't find out about till later in life. I had to see the special ed teacher and the speech therapist and all these things because I wasn't getting it. And then I started getting bullied and got more bullied, and it just compounded. And I stuffed all my emotions. I buried them. I stuffed them. I literally turned my heart off. And that really affected me for many years because I stopped feeling sad because I didn't want to feel sad. But what I realized is that it was also keeping me from feeling like the highest of happiness. Because if you cut one emotion, I feel like you're cutting them all. And that's what was happening to me. But I kept plugging away at life, and things got better, and I went to college, and I got a degree, still doing music, but focusing on TV directing, theater acting, and then I got to work in the field. So I worked in Chicago for a couple of years directing local TV. I got a job to write and direct commercials for the ABC and Fox affiliates out in the Palm Springs market. So I'm like, oh, cool, going to the West Coast.
I
getting out of the
didn't
Chicago weather. I spent 2 years really just harnessing my skills, writing, directing, tons of commercials out there. And then after a couple of years, I'm like, okay, I've kind of reached the peak of the challenges of doing the local advertisements. I need more, and I miss performing. And so I'm like, I'm 2 hours from LA, so I started driving back and forth, and then I started getting involved in some projects and some shoots, and I'm like, I'm going to LA, guys. I got to do this move. And so I made the move to LA, pursuing acting at first. Music screamed back and said, no, we're doing music. And all of a sudden, here I am and playing all these bands and recording and touring and just, living this crazy life of ups and downs and sideways and, pretty fun, but a lot of hardship, as you know, in any art form. But music is definitely one of them where you'll struggle a bit at times, and I did, and had some major things that happened to me and, dropped me on my ass a couple times, but I always found my way back. Even back then when I lost everything, I found it to be such a valuable lesson. And before I even had any of the philosophies I have today.
So what bad thing happened? Like, give me one example of something that was really bad that happened.
Well, in the same year, actually not even in a year, within a couple months, I had to end a 4-year relationship with my band that my partner and I spent, every dollar of credit card I had available, I used on buying a bus and releasing our CDs. And he and I were partners together with this band. It was a 4-year relationship that I invested everything into. I dropped everything for it. So that had to end. A 3-year relationship with the girlfriend I was with ended within the same time period. All my debt and my money went on its head, and I had no cash left. And then the house that I was living in got foreclosed.
Oh, shoot.
And then I ended up homeless. All within about 6 months. And so then you're like, oh, fuck, what do I do? And I was given the option to go back to Chicago and live for free with my folks and stuff. And I said, I can't do that because I'll never be back. That's kind of giving up.
Yes.
I need to find the lesson. There's a reason I'm homeless right now. There's a reason this all has happened at once. I need to find my way out of it because there's some reason that it's going on. And I believed that, and I stuck to that.
Wow.
And I did. I had a massive, my largest life transformation to that point came in the middle of that period.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden everything started to go in another direction, and I grew incredibly from that. And then I met my wife, and then we opened a studio, and I started working again. Next thing you know, my acting career was taking off. I was booking a lot of national commercials. Our studio was taking off. We were doing a lot of shoots, working with a lot of clients. My commercials and film work got us health insurance through SAG, which was like,
nice.
Like how many actors can say even that, right?
I know.
And so I was able to get us full coverage, and we were working, and then we made our own movie, and we released it and did a full year film tour on festivals and
What's
won
the name
several
of the
awards.
movie?
It's called Welcome to Where You've Always Been, and it's a 15.5-minute short film that I wrote, started, and directed, and edited. If you go to welcometoWhereYou'veAlwaysBeen.com, it'll point you right to the Amazon Prime site now where it is hosted, so you can watch it on Amazon Prime. But what's interesting is that, again, now I'm going this way, right? And then a month after we finished our last festival and we were getting ready to do all our distributions, because we got a cable distribution deal as well, I found cancer. And it's like, I was really feeling so good about life that I was like, I could feel vibrations, like something is happening, like something big's about to happen.
Yeah.
Like all the work and all the years, all these things, this movie was about to get distributed, and then we were going to go and start working on another film, and like everything was working really great. And then middle of April 2017, I woke up one weekend really sick. Thought it was a flu, major fever and aches and chills and shakes, and this flu had chest pain as well. The chest pain was so bad I couldn't breathe. It was hard to catch my breath. And 3 days later of that repeating itself, we were all like, okay, this ain't no flu.
Yes.
So we got with my doctor, who ordered me up a CT scan at the time. She had the foresight. Is that the right word? Hindsight, foresight, the intelligence, whatever.
No, I'm not doing
My vocabulary is weird.
Some side.
She had the idea that I needed to have a CT scan, and she was right. I got a phone call from them the very next day, and they told me that they found something, but they can't tell me what it is over the phone, and they need me to come in the next day. And I was like, what do you mean you found something? Like, I was totally taken back by that. And they said, well, we referred you to a cardiothoracic surgeon, which is a specialist in lungs, heart, and esophagus. And we can't see you till 5 o'clock tomorrow, and the doctor will tell you everything. So then it threw me into this 24 hours of not knowing anything.
Right.
And I was going bananas.
Must have been so scary.
Because when you don't know, a billion things come in your head. What could this be? The next day we go to the doctor, and she tells me that they don't know what it is, but there's a mass of some sort that is in my chest. It's not in any one particular organ. It's just in my chest. And they could see that it was based on that scan, about 13 centimeters at the time, and it was right into my heart. And they said that we're not sure what this is, but we've referred you to the top cardiothoracic surgeon at UCLA. You'll see him Monday.
Right.
So then this was Friday, so I had the entire weekend to think about what all amazing things this mass could be.
Man.
And that really was challenging as well. And the doctor, right away when I saw him Monday, thought that it had symptoms of something that would be cancerous. But we ordered up the tests, and the tests were gnarly. I mean, it was 2 weeks of testing. They did a biopsy surgery where they had to actually go in and pull a piece of the tumor out. PET scans and more CT scans and chest x-rays and blood work. They had to do ultrasound of my scrotum for a half hour. I'm like, why am I nuts? But apparently it's related to testicular cancer.
Wow.
And a lot of times a testicular cancer goes up into your chest area.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but a lot of times it starts there and it travels.
Wow.
So they test all these different things, and I come back on May 4th, which was the kind of day I chose to go back in there.
Wow.
So the 4th would be with me. And so I just had the anniversary of that.
Yes,
and I went that day, and then they told me that I did test positive for cancer, and it was a germ cell tumor. And everyone to this day still has no idea what a germ cell is, but for the viewing audience at home, a germ cell is what all human beings have.
Uh-huh.
And when we are just tiny little embryos developing inside of mom, the germ cells travel down the embryo from where your brain area is through what's soon to be your body, because it's not even there yet, and it lands in what's called the gonad primordia. Now the germ cells, I'm going to get all scientific on here, the germ cell is the only cell in the body that undergoes its transformation to choose male or female under its meiotic cell division. So that really is what sets females and males apart, is the slight change that the germ cell makes once it lands. And then once it's in there, it creates your sperm or your eggs.
Oh.
Now, very rarely, but happens, that a germ cell does not make it all the way down, and it stops somewhere, it gets stuck somewhere. And most of the time it just lays there dormant for many, many years, and then one day something wakes it up, and then it starts to create. And now it's a very fast-growing cell because it's one of your earliest cells, but it's not where it's supposed to be. So it doesn't know what to do. So it's duplicating and duplicating and duplicating and duplicating fast, and it's just growing into this hot mass. And I say hot, I mean hot because it's so aggressive.
Right.
And it's growing so fast. And that's what ended up with me. And I had this massive tumor. And after those tests, it had grown even bigger. And it was stuck to even more parts of my inside. And they gave me the diagnosis. And then they said, okay, we need you to go see the oncologist right now. We're going to give you the whole protocol. But we need to be very aggressive with this. We need to get you started on this chemo regimen next week, and we're going to have to eventually do full open chest surgery to take the tumor out. So that's where the cancer journey began.
And that's when you started documenting it all.
Yeah, we started documenting even before that. Right when you
found out, and I thought that was so courageous. I just, you were so transparent with everything, and it was so painful sometimes to watch you, like really talk about it and being there and being kind of helpless and not knowing, but still at the same time you were always so positive and always so hopeful, like, yes, I'm going to fight this thing, And so was Mary Lou. You both were just like really, I was totally blown away by that. And I watched it like every time, like, oh my God, Justin, what's up? What's going on? We were all cheering for you.
Still alive? What's going on?
Yeah, it was just crazy. And I thought it was just so brilliant and brave.
Thank you.
That you documented that, because that is not easy. That is so vulnerable and so personal. Sharing that with everyone.
Yeah, it is taking a big leap of faith, and it did definitely open me up to criticisms and unwarranted and unsolicited advice, and people who didn't agree with what I was doing were making it self-clear, and sometimes in a not so nice way. And everyone thinks they're a doctor, and then everyone else, people were sending me like, oh, I saw this video, this one fruit kills cancer, and people were bombarding me with this fruit. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, it's been shown to help a few cancers. There's there's a lot of cancers out there. This is not a typical environmental cancer. This is an embryonic thing. Yeah. 2, that thing is illegal in the United States, so I couldn't get it anyway. 3, I didn't ask for your advice, so stop sending it to me. I've seen this video 7 times today already, and so I had to understand that when you do something publicly, you have to understand.
You open yourself up to that, yeah.
But ultimately, I thought that the purpose of doing it, because we're filmmakers, and we have our studio, and so it's what we do anyway. We're storytellers, and as someone who spent an entire life performing, to suddenly put the camera on me wasn't like a shock to me. I speaking publicly and helping people and talking to people is what I love to do and storytell.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that part was a hard stretch for me, but sharing these intimate details, really so raw and vulnerable, was definitely outside of my comfort zone. But I knew that, and my wife and I both, Mary Lou and I both knew that by sharing it right from the beginning, we were bound to be helping somebody.
You were.
Whether it's a cancer person or just someone who's going with a day-to-day struggle, by sharing what we're going through, being so open and sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly, sharing the hardest parts and how I overcame the hardest parts, I think that really helped a lot of people. At least that's the feedback that I was getting. So it proved that it was really a beneficial thing. And I'll be honest, there were some times where I was personally struggling, and for whatever reason, and putting that camera
for whatever reason, you had a big
whatever reason that day,
right.
Whether it was a chemo thing or a frustration thing or whatever, whatever was fueling it or triggering it that day, by putting that camera on and speaking to it, to the audience of whoever's listening, it gave me sort of it was a two-way street.
Yeah,
I was getting something out of it. I was able to share what I was going through and how I was processing it with other people, and it felt good to speak it out. Also, I can't just sit there and complain to my wife. I mean, she's my caregiver and already dealing with more than she asked for. Like I sit there and tell her why I'm in pain and why this is bad and that's bad. It's like, no, I need to vent this, and where can I do it and put it on video. And now, at this point I'm at 90 videos, and they're on YouTube and Facebook, and
you have to check it out, because that was really, it was a scary journey. Like, it was like watching a movie, but it's a real story, it's a real thing, And I also really enjoyed when you were doing, sometimes you would just come on and be, really positive, but sometimes you'd be like, man, fuck, this sucks. And I love that, because that was real. You just being really honest and authentic, and just like putting it out there, saying this is how I feel right now.
Well, like we were talking about before we started rolling tape today, how much of what we see online is a fabricated, story. It's what we want the world to see of us. So if I was like someone going through cancer and like I was like perfectly done up and photoshopped the shit out of all my photos, what's that going to do for anybody? No, that's not real. Reality TV isn't real. What you see on Instagram, is dusted and faded and popped and cleaned, and it's not real. This was real. And it was a breath of fresh air, I think, to a lot of people to see that there was something so real going on. And that's what people can relate to. Oh, he's struggling, I'm struggling.
Yes.
What can I do to get over my struggles that he's going to get over his struggles? And so I really felt like it was very empowering to be able to share and to keep keep sharing, even though like every day and every week it got harder and harder.
It must have been really hard,
because like at first I started out like things were good. I mean, it was hard. It was rough. The chemo was hard, and being in the hospital, I had to live. I had to live there for a week at a time, and I did 3 chemos, 24 hours a day for a full week. And then they let me go home for 2 weeks to sort of rest from the chemo, and then I'd come back. I had a port installed right here in my chest, and they'd plug me into the port, and it'd be attached to 3 chemos and fluids and medicine to protect my kidneys, and I'd be taking 30 pills a day, plus drinking citric acid, plus trying to eat some kind of a diet and get up and walk around every day and exercise and try to maintain strength and stuff. And every round, like after the first round was over, I went home. I was feeling the effects of it, but I was doing okay. Then about 10 days in, I woke up one morning, I went like this, and then like that, and there was just a large clump of hair. And I was like, uh-oh. And I did it again. I'm like, more and more. And over the next 3 days, it was just like, and then, so for me, like, I'm rock and roll, and I've always had like long hair, and hair has defined me in so many ways, almost in a way where hair was like too important. Right. It's all style.
Yeah, of course.
And then all of a sudden, all my locks are falling out. And after the 3rd day, Mary, my wife, turns to me, and she turns to me, and I just go like this, and I look at her, and a big hunk of hair just went like this, and it just fell out of my head and hit the ground. She's like, "All right, we got to shave your head tonight because you're shedding more." You than guys all were 5 filming that. I remember when you filmed it. So we did. We did a live video of the head shaving, which I think to this day is the most watched video. At least I can tell on the YouTube that it's the most viewed because I guess who doesn't want to watch somebody
Right.
shave their head live? So it was interesting to go through that, but I accepted it because it was a bit of a rite of passage.
Yeah.
It was a way to sort of accept what I'm going through and keep powering. But there was 4 rounds of chemo, and then the surgery was scheduled after that, and there was issues that happened even before my surgery. Like I was.
It was also scary.
Yeah, I mean, I was called in after my blood work for the surgery, and they called and said rush back to the hospital, and they found out my platelet count was at a 3, and it's supposed to be between 250 and 350, and 3, platelets are what keep your blood, or what helps your blood clot so that you don't bleed out, and at a 3, even I would get a bruise and it would bleed internally.
Oh my God.
And so they had to keep me overnight in the hospital and give me 5 different blood transfusions. And my surgery had to be delayed. And then when my first surgery, we kept testing until my levels came up. Had my surgery, or about to have my surgery, I was having a lot of panic. I did chemo pretty well, but the thought of being helpless,
That is so scary.
sawing open my chest and the whole thing, really was scary for me. And I had to just experience the panic though, and just let it pass through me.
Yeah.
The surgery was massive. It was massively invasive. It was way more intense than they thought it would be. By the end of the 8-hour surgery, I found myself in the ICU for the next week. They had to remove the tumor. With it, they had to take out the entire side of my heart that was stuck to it, which they had to repair. It was the heart wall, the pericardium. They repaired it with a Gore-Tex, which is like what's in your gym shoes or in a raincoat. Patch with Gore-Tex. The right lung was also stuck. They had to remove a third of my right lung completely. Just taking it straight out of my body. So I feel, when I take a deep breath sometimes, like I can feel where it's missing, which is really weird. They had to take my superior vena cava, which is the main vein. It's a really long vein. They had to take it out because it was stuck to that.
It's almost like a car.
Yeah, they rebuilt it with cow tissue, though, which was really crazy.
Wow.
And I woke up and I found that out, and I was like, oh my God, I'm a vegan, and now there's cow inside of me. So it was really shocking to find out that they had to rebuild this huge vein with cow heart tissue. They had to remove some other veins and put me back together with the titanium. And, I was like rewired and just totally bionic. And
Isn't that amazing?
it was crazy to be in the hospital for a week in ICU with tubes coming out of everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was so helpless, IVs and tubes, and I was at the mercy of the people that they had. Took 3 people to get me out of bed. I could barely walk.
I give it up to the people who work there.
Oh, they're the best.
I could never.
The
do
nurses
that.
are the best humans in the world.
I could
All
never do
throughout,
that work.
they've been the best.
That's not an easy job to do, and it's not even really a job.
Yeah, no,
So
it's
much
a
more
life.
than that,
Yeah. But you ask any of them, and they'll tell you I would do nothing else.
Yeah,
Because
that is
they
amazing.
love it so much. But it takes a very special person to be able to do that.
It does.
And trust me, when I had to release all control, I mean, it finally, when I really hit the bottom, was 5 days in. See, the one funny part about being in the hospital, I don't know if you've ever stayed overnight in a hospital, but they always come in, and 4 different people will ask you how your bowel movement was that day. They love to know about your goings and comings.
Yeah.
And after all the surgeries and having the epidural in my back and the pain meds and all the stuff, I wasn't going. And by day 5, I had a male nurse this day. He came in and said, if you don't go poop today, we got to give you an enema. And I didn't, and he did. And so
Yay.
I had to roll over and get that. And then I'm like, okay, what's next? And then he rolls into the room, because there's no bathrooms in the ICU. And he rolls in the little toilet with the handles and the thing and the thing. He's like, okay, as soon as you're ready, let me know, and we're going to move you onto this thing. So all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, God, hitting the buzzer. He comes running in.
God.
He maneuvers me on there. And remember, I've got things coming out of my back. I've got a catheter coming out of my pecker. I've got 3 chest tubes, 2 IVs in my arms and hands.
Oh, man.
And now I'm sitting there in the middle of this room. He pulls the drape, and I'm just sitting there taking a crap in a bucket. And then when I'm done, I got to buzz him, and he comes in, and this is where we hit rock bottom. This kind 47-year-old Filipino gentleman had to wipe my ass for me. And I'm just standing there, like, okay, kill me now. Like, this is, does it get any lower than this? Really to have to give in and be that helpless and let others do that much for you. I mean, that's really, God, what's that? I don't know what the word for that is. That's a very humbling experience, maybe. It's really
say the
okay,
least,
man.
yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, I just have to allow. But I did, and I got home, and, the journey, and I'd love to get back to some of the philosophies, but just to kind of give you the rest of the main part of the journey. Going home was really challenging. Spending the next 2 months in recovery at home, still barely able to get out of bed myself. We had to get a hospital bed. Some friends of mine pitched in and got it for me, and Mary Lou had to help me get in and out of bed every day. And it was really, really difficult. But 2 months went by. My doctor said, okay, you can start doing some more exercise, start rebuilding. I'm like, okay, Justin's motto, I'm going to kick some ass now, I'm going to get to it. And I started working out a little bit. And then a few weeks later, there was an issue.
You had the fluids, right? I remember you had a fluid in
so I had a heart issue. I had to go to the ER, and they couldn't find anything at first. And then about a week later, I followed up with my my physician, who was listening to my heart and didn't like what she had heard. So she scheduled me to see the cardiologist. And when he listened to my heart, he said, okay, we're going to put you in for an echocardiogram this Saturday. It was December 16th. I still remember it. I went that morning. I had a full echocardiogram, went to an afternoon lunch party, as a matter of fact. So I felt fine. And we were at this party, and I stepped away a minute, and I took my phone out, and there was like 3 missed calls and voicemails. And then the phone rings again, and I answer this time, and it's the cardiologist. I've been trying to get hold of you. Where are you? And I'm like, I'm at a party. What's up? It's like, you're at a party? He's like, you got to leave now and go straight to the ER. And I'm like, why? He's like, and he wouldn't tell me exactly. He didn't want to work. He told me later.
Scary.
He goes, I didn't want to alert you over the phone. But he goes, I was paging and calling every heart surgeon that was on call to get people in to meet you at the hospital. He said, go to the hospital, tell me about pericardial effusion. They're going to be expecting you. And I went there, and if you ever go to the ER, you got to sign in, and you got to wait.
Yeah,
hours later, forever, right?
Yeah.
I got there. I'm like, hi, I'm Justin. My doctor said to come and have a pericardial. She's like, oh, yes, let's go. And they literally, they didn't have me do paperwork or do the blood thing, or they just took me right back. And then all of a sudden these doctors started showing up in street clothes. And they were the surgeons who were on call. It was a Saturday. Wow. And they came in, they're like, okay, we're your surgeons. We're going to go get scrubbed up. But here's the issue. There's a full liter of fluid that is inside of your heart sac, and your heart is collapsing. It already started, the top right of your heart, from what we can see in the image, has already collapsed inward. And if we don't get the fluid out in the next few hours, your heart's going to collapse and shut down. And that's it, lights out. They rushed me in, and they're prepping me for the surgery. They said, okay, when was the last time you ate? And I said, an hour ago, we just came from a party. They're like, we can't put you under because you've had food. You can't go under because your body doesn't have the reflexes. You're choking on your own food. So they had to keep me awake the whole time, and I had to watch them penetrate my chest.
God.
They ran a feed all the way into, they punctured my heart sac.
Goodness.
I know, right? And I'm watching them pump.
Don't even. Oh no, I don't know.
Into a jar.
Oh man.
And they were measuring it. They got a little more than half of a liter out, and then they attached the rest of it to like a bag that attached to my side. And they said, you're going to have to stay in the ICU for a few days while this continues to pump. So I went up and I stayed upstairs in the ICU. I'm like, this is unexpected. But I did it. And then 2 days later, my main surgeon who did the surgery came back. And he tells me, with his team, we've reviewed everything and taken a look, and we don't understand why this has happened. It really shouldn't have this far out, and we're concerned that the cancer spread into your heart.
Ooh.
So we need to recommend doing another surgery of your heart this time. He says, we're not going to have to saw you open. We're going to try to do it through your side when they make 5 incisions. He goes, but what we need to do is we need to take a piece of your pericardial tissue to test it right away to see if there's any cancer cells. But while we're doing it, we're going to make the cut. And they did it about silver dollar size on the bottom of the heart sac. So it would basically permanently stay open so that if, even if I made it through this and there was no cancer, any fluids would build up. They would just drain straight down, because they said that once the fluid starts to build up, you have a matter of hours before it's fatality.
Whoa.
So I had to agree to the surgery. I went under. We did another procedure. The positive part was that there was no cancer, so they were able to complete the whole surgery.
Yeah.
While they were in there, and I'm thinking it was almost a blessing in disguise, there was little blood clots around the heart from this last surgery, which is why it had filled up.
Wow.
But what had also happened was my left lung and my heart fused together after the last surgery, so they had to dissect the 2 organs off of each other.
Man.
So I was like, well, that's kind of fucked up, but it's kind of good
Thank God
that
they went in. Yeah.
that we got this done. So I spent from December 16th to the end of the year in the hospital. I got out 2 days before New Year's Eve, And I was technically cancer-free at that point. But what I really learned is that part of the journey marked the halfway point. Because even though the cancer was gone, starting in January, the recovery was just as hard, but in different ways than going through the cancer.
Yeah.
And it was, most of 2018 was a major struggle that I had to really work hard to keep going through. You know, so it's interesting. You think like, I'm free of cancer. Like, Justin, go home. You have no more cancer. But it's like I pictured it like a tornado rolling through some small town and just taking everything out.
Right.
And the tornado's gone, but in its wake, it has left a disaster. Right. And now you've got to pick up the pieces and rebuild everything.
Wow.
So
that's a great analogy.
Yeah. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the of the procedures and the cancer stuff up to that. So
you talked a lot about, and I want to talk about your one-man show that you're doing.
Okay.
And I know you talked a lot about, which when I first saw it, for someone who's not gone through it, it's foreign, right? When someone says embrace cancer, love cancer. And I think I'm getting it now, but I just want you to tell us a bit more about that, because I think that's important for anyone who is going through that, right? Because if I would find out right now that I have something bad happening, like I don't know how I would react. I'd probably like freak the fuck out and go into a depression or throw a pity party, you know what I mean? And
which is all understandable, and normal human experience.
Absolutely, but then to have that, you know, where do you find that power and that strength to just say, man, no, I'm not done. You know, I'm gonna beat this, and at the same time embrace it and love it. Yeah. I love that concept, and I want to hear more about it.
Yeah, I'd love to share that. I'll work my way up to talking about the show, because it's just one way that I'm sharing the message. First and foremost. And when people ask me, you know, for a certain advice on how did I do that, I think that many of us wait till something is wrong to start doing the things we should have been doing. And what I mean by that is like taking, like someone has a heart attack and like, oh, I better start eating better now.
Right.
But they already had the heart attack, right?
Yeah.
So in my case, you know, and this is why it was also surprising. I mean, I turned vegan in 2011. I had already been organic since 2009, and I had been into health and fitness my entire adult life. Even, I don't know, before, maybe 6 years before cancer, I started getting into a lot of personal development. I really got into a lot of reading and tons of just great information and inspirational, powerful stuff, from documentaries to books to seeing speakers live, to everything I could do to sort of consume. And then Mary Lou and I started doing healing retreats together, emotional healing retreats. And then I started doing Buddhism. I got into Nichiren Buddhism, which was really powerful for me, and chanting every day. And so all those things that I had been doing when cancer came, I was already at a place that I knew what to do, or where I knew how to start, because I wasn't starting, like, I just got cancer, I better start eating vegan now.
Right.
Or I better find my spirituality now.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's too late.
Yeah.
Because you're already in the throes of it.
Right.
And then people say, well, you know, you were so healthy, but you still got cancer, so what's the point? Well, the point is, number one, my cancer was an embryonic misplaced cell, not an environmental from something I did wrong. So it doesn't matter what I did with myself, it was an inevitable thing. But the second part is that with human beings, it's not if, it's when things are going to go wrong. We all have to be aware that illness is a normal part of the human experience, and some get it worse than others. Obstacles are a normal part of the human life. So the fact is that if you are already in tune with these various health, mental, emotional, spiritual things, then when something does go wrong, whether it's as deep as a cancer or just something small, you have more tools to overcome it. And for me, like, my surgeons told me from the day I had my diagnosis, you're healthier than anybody we've seen in here. If anybody's going to make it, you're the guy who's going to do it. You're going to defy the odds. He said, keep doing what you're doing, eat the same diet, do whatever spirituality you're doing, just stay on your course, and you're going to have the strongest chance. So that was really powerful to know that I had been already sort of tuned into that. When I got the diagnosis, you know, a lot of it came from my chanting. I'll be honest, the Buddhist chanting was really strong for me. And the community in the Buddhist community rallied around me quite a bit. And we're having gatherings just to chant for my health. Beautiful. I was able to, because I was in that place, really open up to allow information to come in. And I was very blessed that the gift of this philosophy of embrace, love, free just downloaded to me one day.
Mm-hmm.
I started to really learn that I needed to take the power back. You know, most of the time, and I'm very guilty of this, we fall into a victim space.
Yeah.
It's very easy to point the fingers at everything else but yourself. Buddhist philosophy says you got to look at the self. And I realized that what did I do to contribute? I talked earlier about my emotionally closed down heart. Well, I find it very interesting that a tumor grew into my closed down heart. You know, why can't I say, okay, well, you know what? Maybe that's not the entire culprit, but I definitely feel that that was a contributor. So I'm going to take some ownership here. I'm going to take some responsibility. And there's great power in taking the responsibility and not being the victim of your circumstance. So that's a great step, is to first take some of that power back. Then when embrace, love, and free came, I didn't understand where these words came from.
Right.
They started to make sense to me. So I started with embrace, step one. You can't control what you can't control, right? So if you can't control what you can't control, what can you control? How you react to it and what you do next.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to stay in this place of victimhood and poor me? Or do you want to take the power and find a way to hold responsibility and make decisions now that are going to improve your lives and the lives of others? So that was powerful to me to say, I have cancer. I accept it. I'm not in denial of it.
Yeah.
It's there. What can I do now?
It's powerful.
I can make different decisions on what I'm going to do. Am I going to be poor, pathetic me like I used to be? Or am I going to say, no, there's a bigger reason this is happening? And am I going to take advantage of it?
Yeah.
Find the message. You know, in Buddhist philosophy, we say, you know, every great obstacle yields a great benefit. The bigger the obstacle you overcome, the bigger the benefit and the reward. And I said, this is not just for me. This is a benefit for many people in the world. Yeah. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to own that. Embrace it. I embrace my cancer. I had to do the same thing with when I chose to do the chemo route. I was very against chemotherapy.
I can imagine.
A bad thing. And I feel that naturally speaking, there's a lot of ways to help cancers naturally. In my situation, it wasn't a possibility because my cancer wasn't going to kill me. My heart was going to collapse because my cancer tumor was growing into it.
Yeah.
And so I had to be very aggressive with the treatment, and I had to own up to that fact that I have to embrace the chemo. I have to accept it. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Yeah. And I really feel that the energy is so important with it. So that was really a big step to walking through that first hole. Now, love, some people have a harder time with this one because it's like, how do you love cancer? And I was like, well, you don't love cancer. You stay in a place of love. Because love has a high vibration.
Yeah.
Love and gratitude vibrate way high. Victimhood and everything else is way down here. Healing happens here, not here. Yeah. This leads to more of this. Yeah. So I stay in a place of love and realize how blessed my life has been and how many adventures I've gone on and what I've accomplished as an artist, as a musician, and an actor, and a director, and my wife and my cats and my family. Like, so many beautiful things to be appreciative about. So gratitude is so powerful in love. But it's also saying that, you know what, I'm going to love this process. I'm going to love that I'm going through this because I'm seeing that my little videos are helping people already, and what I'm going through is helping people. So that love for me was very important. Now I took it a step further, and I developed a relationship with my tumor. And I started to speak to it. And I really embraced the tumor. And here's what I said, you know, you are part of me. It's a cell. That was my cell that just got misplaced. And something turned it on. But the cell is just trying to do what it was supposed to do way back when. Like any human or any living being, it's just trying to survive. So how am I going to hold anger? It doesn't know good or bad. It doesn't know, you know, all it knows is that I'm supposed to make something. And I'm just not where I'm at. And it just kept growing, growing, growing. And I'm like, okay, listen. And I would talk to it. And I would say, I love you. And you're part of me. And it's okay. You didn't do what you were supposed to do, but what you're doing now is so much bigger. And I'm appreciative and I'm grateful for you. You are my mentor and my teacher, and I've learned more than I could have ever learned in this small amount of time. However, you can let go now, because your job is done. And you can peacefully let go, knowing that you did your job and were better because of it. And everything is going to be okay. And I would talk to it and say, I love you. And I would hold love, and I would hold myself. You know, someone else might look at me and think I'm some weirdo, but I would hug myself, I would hold myself, I would radiate my own love back into my chest, I would visualize healing, I would visualize all the little cancer cells, instead of being shot at and killed by the chemo, just letting go. Like little smiley faces that would just let go, and the little eyes would turn to little X's as they would peacefully die.
Yeah.
And then they would just float like a piece of paper in the wind into my body and be reabsorbed, and one by one just falling off. Because people from the beginning were saying, kick its ass, fight it, beat it,
Right.
go to war with it, fuck cancer.
And it's so negative, and
it's
all of that is so
none of that
negative.
resonated. Yeah, it's none of that resonated with me. I'm like, how do I fight something, like I said, that's part of me, inside of me, and go to war? I mean, like, no war has ever turned to victory.
No.
Every war, everyone's a loser. People die, nature dies.
Yeah.
No one wins in war, and the war on drugs has never been successful, and the war on poverty is losing more than it's ever lost.
Everything against,
So
fight.
Yeah, and we're programmed to always think that it's all war, and I think that's a whole other story, but I think it's all bullshit.
It is bullshit, I agree.
But I ain't going to declare war on my own body.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people, they want you to do that, and I don't think that that's right. I declare love on my body.
I so love that. I think that should just be taught in school.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that is so powerful. I've been reading the book The Power by, The Secret runner.
Yeah.
Of course, you know The Secret, the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about, it sounds like the Sedona method, where you embrace it, you welcome it in. If it's a headache, migraine, whatever it is, you embrace it and you welcome it in, and then you release it. You say, thanks for letting me know that there's something not right.
Right.
You can let go now.
It is.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That is so powerful. So your one-man show.
Yeah.
Are you?
The one-man show. So.
I couldn't make it to the one you had because I had a show or something. I had to be somewhere, or I had committed to like a seminar that I was taking.
Oh, good.
But I really want to see it.
There's good news. So I've been sharing my whole journey through the videos. Then I was asked to do some speaking. I've always really aspired to be a motivational speaker as well. And here I am, I'm on stage, and I was asked to speak at a charity event. I spoke at UCLA's Celebration of Life, and I'm sharing it. And I realized that up until now we've done a good job of sharing the videos, but the message and the philosophy, I think, really needs to reach a bigger audience.
Yes.
And one way of doing that is finding the different modalities that work for different people. Now, last year I was still struggling a lot. And what I had realized was that I never had freed my cancer yet. And one day I had the epiphany that I thought I was free of cancer, but I didn't energetically free being a cancer patient.
Wow.
And I made the shift to free it from my body, to let it go. And that's the really important part of the third step of the process is once you've processed everything and done all this stuff, you have to release it. Otherwise, you're still holding on to it and just creating space for it more. So when I did that, I said, okay, what other things I can do to really share this? I think the people need to hear this. So everyone is sort of into different things to get the message across. So I started writing my book right away. And I started doing speaking engagements right away. And still doing the live videos. And then one day I happened to go to a friend's show at this particular theater. And I saw a couple, they were back-to-back, two women, each did a one-person show. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I've never really been to a show like this before. I'm like, how freaking cool is this as another way to tell this story? Some people would rather sit down with a book in their own world and just read everything. Some want to see a short 15-minute speech. But you can really affect a lot of people when you theatricalize it and bring it to life.
Yes.
And I literally started writing it in my head while I was in the audience that night. And I started to develop it. I got with Jessica Lynn Johnson, who's my director, and she actually has a free class at the same theater on Saturday mornings for anyone who aspires to create a solo show. And
I've always wanted to do that, to be honest.
You got to check it out.
Yeah,
because even if you don't, and you can go for free and just do some writing exercises and stuff. Yeah. But I think you would have a powerful show with singing and everything. You know, what I saw was this was a way for me to theatricalize and tell my story. And
you're an actor anyway.
But
you're
make it
director,
entertaining. Yeah, exactly. And make it, as they call it, edutainment, like education and entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, was I developed this show. So it tells my story and the philosophies, but it also goes back and forth from me on stage to edited versions of the live videos on the screen behind me that I did use my filmmaking abilities to create little 60-second videos.
Oh, I love that.
So we're going back and forth from what I'm acting out on stage to what's being seen on the screen above me. I play drums. I do several musical numbers in the show, just original stuff that I came up with, and I do chanting, and I do poetry and the live videos. I developed 20 characters. I play the doctors, and I play some non-human characters as well. And I just brought it to a point where there are moments that the people were laughing uncontrollably to the point where the entire audience was crying.
Right, yeah.
So it really, I think, brings the story to life more than any other modality out there of creation. And I had such a blast doing it. And I got such great feedback from the people who were there that says, you got to keep doing the show. And so, lo and behold, the theater had offered me a 3-month run this summer.
Nice.
To do it 3 Sundays.
Yes.
July, August, September. And it's going to be the Sunday matinee at 3 o'clock. So it's my favorite sets of 3. So it's the 3 shows on the 3rd Sunday of the month at 3 p.m.
Awesome. We have to be there.
It's the White Fire Theater, by the way, in Sherman Oaks on Ventura Boulevard. The website to find out more about the show and to get tickets is embracelovefree.com.
embracelovefree.com.
Yeah, and it's just a subset of from my website, justinsandler.com, so you will find it if you just go to my website as well. But embracelovefree.com will take you right to the landing page that has a review from the last show, a few pictures from the stage, and once I get the contracts in place and the ticket sales up, I'm not sure when this is going to be aired, but that's where the link to the tickets will be right there as well. But it's easy to remember, 3 months, 3rd Sunday of the month, 3 o'clock.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
And see, you would have never done any of that if that would have not happened. So in a way, isn't that funny how life sometimes works out? Something really bad happens and it turns out to be...
That's usually what happens.
You know?
We just a lot of times try to avoid those things. Or avoid the negative, but there's an old saying, what we resist persists.
Yeah,
and so you can't just resist things, you have to allow them, you have to process them, you have to embrace love, free them, and you have to understand that, the idea in life, and I'm going to butcher this quote, but I believe it, it wasn't Jim Rohn, it was, I'll come up with his name. Anyway, it was, don't wish for less problems, wish for more answers or more solutions. I'm quoting it. Is it Zig Ziglar that said that? Or it's either Zig Ziglar or Jim Rohn. I get the chemo brain still, I'll be honest, I forget a lot of things.
At least you have a good excuse. I don't and always mess things up.
just say chemo brain. People will get it. Chemo brain. No one will fault you for chemo brain. And it's a real thing. But yeah, like I lose the word sometimes. And it's just whatever. But yeah, we don't want to wish for less problems because that's not a human experience.
Right.
The human experience is to go through life and face challenges and face obstacles. Otherwise, you're never going to grow.
Right.
You're just going to be in your little safe box, in this comfort zone, which is not comfortable. It's just dangerous, actually. And you have to put yourself out of it.
Yes, absolutely.
And you've been a successful artist, and if you would have just stayed comfortable in your little safe box, you would have never broken out and done all the stuff you've done.
And it's easy to go back into that box, even though it's not even that comfortable. But I feel sometimes,
it feels safe.
It feels safe. It feels like stuck. I think we all feel that. I know I go through that all the time. Even now, I'm like, what's my next step, right? What's my next move? Like, am I going to stay? Am I going to do I'm considering the van life. So, it's scary, exciting, and kind of crazy. It's like, do I really want to get rid of this? But then do I really want to hold on to this?
Right.
Because sometimes you hold on to things that it makes us feel secure or familiar, but that could also be bad thing because there's no growth.
Right. And you also say like I don't want to get rid of all my stuff, but now you're living in a place where you don't own the stuff owns you.
Exactly.
You know, and really at the end of the day it's just stuff. It's
stuff.
Shit. It's worthless, most of it.
It is so
all
worthless.
You need is you need your recording gig, great, and you need your dog and and your computer.
Yeah.
You don't need
and
all
my
the
health.
stuff.
Your health. And I think that's what I'm starting to just like be way more minimalistic. I don't really shop that much anymore because I think I don't need as much. And it's kind of funny because I threw a lot of like clothes out and I'm like, what am I gonna wear today? Oh shit, I threw that out.
I know, get rid of that. I've been doing the same thing though.
Oops.
But there's something really interesting about getting rid of stuff because I went through and my wife and I have been donating so much stuff recently. Now the thing is, like, if you have this closet full of stuff and I haven't worn this in 3 years. I haven't worn this in 2 years.
Right.
You're not going to wear it, right?
You hang on to it. Oh, maybe one day.
Or like you have a memory of like what you bought it that
Yeah.
was going on that day. But it's really the memory doesn't die. You just associate the stuff with it. The thing is, if you don't get rid of that stuff, how do you create space to bring in new stuff?
Exactly. Yes. So
Recently I got a new drum set, and this was an amazing thing that happened when my wife talked to the my A&R reps with Vic Firth Drumsticks, who I endorse, and in secret at the NAMM show, and said, Justin hasn't been playing that much because of cancer, and he's really wanting to get back, and I want to encourage him. She goes, but he needs a new drum kit. He's been playing the same Yamaha drums for 20 whatever years, and they're old and falling apart. And he's always wanted DW, and he's always wanted a clear drum kit. Next thing you know, we're heading up to DW to get the clear acrylic DW drum kit with all the high-end hardware and everything on there. And it was just like, wow, what an amazing blessing. And I got it for the artist pricing, so it was really cheap in comparative speaking. And I brought it home, and one of the first things I did was I took my Yamahas and all the stuff I found with it, I put it in the car, and I went to a local music school in Studio City, and I donated it to them.
Oh,
so that
wow,
the kids there
so
could
nice.
use it. Because I felt like, that's got to be, that's the natural. Like, I could have tried to sell it. I could have tried to sell a lot of my stuff, but like, what's that going to do? Like getting a few bucks, it really, there's more power. And then I can go visit them too now at the school. Like I went there for something recently, and they were set up in the back room, and the kids are jamming on them. Like,
that is so cool.
How cool is that? And now I have a big bag of all kinds of other drum stuff. I old sticks and metronomes and all kinds of cool stuff that I'm going to bring over there to donate, because I know that these are kids. A lot of them are less fortunate. They don't have the money to get their own stuff, and this school is providing it. And so that really just shows that you've got to keep energy flowing, and you got to keep it going, and
you got to give what you want to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people that always think like, oh, what do I get out of it? That's the wrong approach. It's like, how can I serve?
Yeah.
How can I help?
Yeah.
And not worry about that lack.
Yeah.
Because the focus is so much on lack, right?
Right.
I don't have
We
this,
hold
I
on
don't
to
have that.
it. We hold it so tight.
And I'm sure you were freaking out when you were going through all that stuff. You didn't really work. You couldn't really work that much.
That was hard. Yeah.
Mary Lou didn't work because she had to. I'm sure she worked, but she had to also take care of you. So that must have been so hard on you guys, and also stressful, right? So, but you did it.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for someone that is just doesn't even have those kind of problems, right? Just like sometimes you just freak out. You're worried about money, about job.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone like you, who's like totally, you've gone through so much. It's almost like I can deal. I'm like Superman. I can deal with anything.
I'm still human.
Yeah.
And even though I was able to overcome such huge things, sometimes a small thing will still hit me and affect me.
Of course.
Because it's a natural, normal human response. You can't really run away from that, or you can't escape your natural fight or flight tendencies, right? Mm-hmm. The thing is that you need to put yourself in check. The number one thing is when something goes wrong, you need to step back for a second and really evaluate what's going on, because we get so consumed by it that we let it take over every fiber of our body and every cell, and it radiates that lack or that anguish or whatever it is, and as all quantum physics experts and law of attraction folks will tell you, is that when you radiate that lack, you're going to get more of it.
Yeah.
And so it's not benefiting you to, hang on. So the idea is like, okay, what is this and why is this happening? And wait, I get to control how I react. I remember Justin said, I can embrace something. I don't have to like it, but I have to embrace it.
I so love that.
I don't have to like it, love it. I can even have an angry feeling towards it, because that's also natural and human. You don't need to stuff and suppress those feelings. Like, I fucking hate this. Yeah. But I have to embrace it. Yeah. Because I can't deny it. Otherwise you're living in fantasy land. Yeah. So start there and then say, okay, am I going to let this thing, this stubbed toe or this missed job opportunity or whatever big or small thing happen, am I going to let it really control that much of my life and really take me down? Sometimes we get in these ruts where a negative thing, and it's a few things at once, and it hits us, and we become a little more vulnerable. And that's when, it's like it rains, it pours, and it just dumps on us. But it's because we've become vulnerable, and because we're fighting what's happening, we're not embracing it. and
Like you
making better
persist.
decisions. Yeah, there it is. It's persisting.
Yeah.
Because you're not living in this space of, okay, this might suck ass right now, but how can I embrace and accept it at least and make a different choice? What can I do? How can I put a different spin on this? How can I go within inside myself and find the strength to take responsibility in how I may have contributed instead of pointing the finger all over the place?
Yeah.
And that's really where it has to start.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're thinking irrationally and you're reacting instead of acting. You know, living a reactive life is not good.
No.
You know, if someone, you know, if you're walking down a dark alley and you're just staring at your phone and someone jumps out and attacks you, now you have to react, and it's too late most of the time.
Yeah.
But if you're walking down that alley and you're looking around and you're standing present and you're strong, you know, you're not going to look like an easy target. So most likely you're not going to, you know, so you're being proactive. You're in active mode.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. If you're just reacting to this and reacting to this, what's going to happen eventually, you can block, but one of those punches is going to get in and hit you. And then once one hits you, now your arms drop and your face is open for nothing. I'm using all these weird analogies, but you know, it's true. It helps paint the picture because you're going to get knocked the fuck out because you've left yourself wide open at that point. So yeah, I mean, that's my advice really is don't deny your true feelings and how you really experience something, but don't also hang on to them. And don't take these feelings and don't make them what's called a samskara, like a stuck energy. You know, because when those things get stuck, they can create, I mean, I feel like my stuck energy and my closed heart really led to my cancer. It can lead to cancer and death, you know. It's really that powerful. We don't see it. We don't understand energy. A lot of people think, oh, it's woo-woo, whatever. It's because you can't quantitate it and you can't measure it. But
it makes
everything
sense.
is energy.
Everything is energy.
Everything
Even
is energy.
Your joints, you know, stuck energy. It's so easy to just get, when you have a stiff neck, that's all just energy being stuck, you know, because people get so. I also feel that, like, you know, I lived in Venice and we used to walk all the time, all over the place, and people would tell us, like, years later, what, you walk down there like at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, are you crazy? There's like all these gangs. And I'm like, I never ever heard gunshots in there. So it's like, I never focus on that. You know what I mean? I don't even think about it. I don't walk around with, you know, a weapon in my pocket just in case somebody attacks me. Because I think all these things really, if I'm expecting something, it's probably going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm like always on defense mode, like always like prepared to, like, kind of what you were saying, you know, I think that's dangerous too, to just be so worried and always focus on all the bad stuff, which so many people do, like all the political stuff. And I'm like, just focus on you, focus on your immediate environment, and that's all you really have control over anyway. You know?
When you get wrapped up in all that stuff, really, like, okay, you brought up political, and I'm not going to go too deep because politics is a shithole, and it's a bullshit system.
Yeah.
And it's set up to fail.
Yes.
And no matter who you vote for, you're losing.
Yes.
You know, and it's just, again, it's another subject.
I'm so with you. I know we could go on for like 3 hours.
But the thing is, like, even if you feel very passionately about one thing or the other, or you dislike one person who's leading, or you like a person who's leading, the thing is, like, there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
There's nothing you can do about it. And then I see people, like, get on their Facebooks, and they're arguing back and forth, and it's like, you know, you spent how many hours and how much of your, you know, like, I can picture people like, and they're angry and they're like,
they're wasting all the energy.
Go do something else, create something, be productive, because bitching on your Facebook and fighting with other people is actually making the problem worse.
Exactly.
Because the concept is that unity is what the powers that be are actually afraid of. Like, the division of the human beings is really what they want to see. People fighting over politics, people fighting over race, religion. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have as many differences as we're led to believe. But any opportunity there is to exploit something like that, like, news article, white man hits black man.
Yes.
We just made a race issue out of something that had nothing to do with race issues. But we're doing things that continue to divide, and you become so divided that you can't get together. And people are like, well, if you voted for this guy, then unfriend me, because
I can't stand that.
When did we lose the ability to respect other human beings, to each have our own agenda? I'm a vegan and an animal lunatic lover, but if someone eats a steak in front of me, I still respect them and their truth. I don't want to eat it and necessarily smell it, but I won't fault you for living your truth.
Yeah.
Because it's your truth.
Yeah.
How can you tell anybody not to live their truth and want to unfriend them and cast them out because they had a feeling? Their feeling is just as true as your feeling.
Oh my God, I love what you say
right
now.
Because it's true to them, and this is true to you.
Yes.
So agree to disagree that you guys have different opinions on politics, so stop fucking talking about politics.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that doesn't make you a bad person or a better person. And oh God, it disgusted me so much when all that started. And I have friends who are just like, freak, I'm so scared. These times are so horrible. I'm like, really? Nothing has changed, really. You know,
the times have been horrible.
Live your life and just do the best you can do, and just stop worrying about that kind of crap and stop fighting about it.
Yeah.
I agree, because we are all together in this, and until people get that, it's always going to be some jerk who thinks that, you know, they feel they need to start something that is so pointless and really more destructive. Like you said earlier, you cannot fight against something because you're just creating a fight. You're fighting. You're still fighting.
Right.
You know,
creating that friction.
Yeah. Creating that friction. So speaking of all of that,
it's embrace and love and free. You know, okay, I can embrace that I have a different political view than there, but we can still be in a place of love as human beings and brothers, and we can free the political agenda and be creative and productive and do things that are good for the world.
Yeah.
Spend less time bullshitting and spend more time volunteering or helping.
Do something.
Do fucking something.
Do something,
right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Also, it makes me sad that in this environment, I cannot always say what I really want to say because I have to be afraid that I'm going to get blackmailed if I say something that somebody might not like. You know, the whole Black Lives Matter issue and all that kind of crap. Where I'm like, oh my God, can we just please, like you said, tolerate and accept someone else's opinion? It does not make you a bad person. It just means that you have your own opinion.
Right.
Because not everybody has to have the same opinion.
Right.
You know?
And I get you, like, you know, I have those feelings too when I'm having one of those days and I just want to get online and make a post with, you know, how I feel, but then I realize, I'm like, you know what? Those who agree with me are going to cheer for me. Those who don't agree with me are going to chastise me. What have I got? What have I proved?
Exactly.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You know, those
and you don't want to argue. I don't have time to argue online. Because first of all,
I don't waste of time,
right? And it's like I can't hear your voice, so I don't really know how you're saying it to me. And also, what's the point of us? Because if you really believe in this and you stand for that and you can't tolerate something else, then what's the point of even arguing? Because it's a lose-lose situation. Kind of what you said with the war, right? It's a lose-lose. You cannot win.
And as much as you try to convince them, and even if they seem like they're budging, you know, there's the old saying too, like, those convinced against their will are of the same opinion still. So you're not changing anything there. Yeah. You know, I mean, you can definitely speak your truth in a very intelligent way.
Right.
There's a way to sound intelligent and to share your being and your insides. And there's a way to be just downright immature and attacking. And trust me, when you put it out there, you think that you're the righteous one, you're still attacking somebody else.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's easy to do, especially when you get on and you're angry and you just want to kind of express yourself and you think, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
But it's pointless. It's really pointless. Speaking of all that.
Yes, I know you're trying to get into
What are your pet peeves? Because I love asking people that. Because, some of your pet peeves, I just love asking people about that.
Well, I mean, are we talking about, your basic day-to-day harmless pet peeves, or the things that really piss me off in the world?
The things that really piss you off in the world.
Oh, that's a big one. I might not be able to answer all those because
your top 2 or 3.
Let me go with what I consider pet peeves. How about this? Because the big things are too big, and we're gonna have to get more tape. Order out some food, and this is gonna be an all-night thing. So let me just go with what I call pet peeves. People who spit their gum out in walkways, sidewalks, and parking lots.
Oh, God.
This has got to be my biggest, if we call them pet peeves, because I'm always the asshole who steps in it. I see people, there's a garbage can right there, and the gum's on the ground. When you spit your gum out on a sidewalk or in a busy parking lot where people are walking back and forth, it's going to end up on someone's shoe, guaranteed.
An asshole.
And it fucking sucks, because you know how hard it is to get gum off the bottom of your shoe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's like the most inconsistent. Like,
Or people that put gum on their table in a restaurant.
and then you end up touching it by accident. You're like, oh,
You're like, why would you do that?
spit it out.
Put it in a napkin, right? Like, why is it under the freaking table? Who started that?
Yes.
It's
it's.
do you do that at home?
Yeah,
Oh my god!
Probably started in high school or something. You get like caught
Like,
chewing gum in class and you put it
yeah.
under the desk or something like that. But it's like, we're civilized now. You can throw it in
Yeah.
put it in a napkin or something. Yeah. So like gum chewing.
Gotcha.
That really that's a big one for me. It irks me. And again, without going too deep on the bigger things, but I just really think just common courtesy. A lack of common courtesy that I see. And this can be seen in so many different ways, from people the way they drive on the road to, not considering other people, to those who, God, even at the gym, the meathead who puts 6 plates on the thing and then leaves it there and walks away, and then like a small girl comes up and wants to work out and she can't get all the weights off. Like, you're not thinking about other people.
Right.
You have no common courtesy.
Yeah.
And a lot of us walk through life, and then we all do it accidentally, and that's normal. But some people just don't give a flying fuck, and they're like, "Not my mess." I can like, I pick up litter off the ground. Litter is a big one for me too. I pick up litter off the ground. Just if I see it, I pick it up and I throw it away because no one else is going to do it.
I can never get that when people walk by it and they're like, "Why don't you just pick it?" I do that too because it really bothers me, especially when it's right next to a garbage can. Like, so you couldn't. I mean, okay. And dog poop, that's a huge one.
Yeah,
oh my god, that makes me mad.
Stepping in dog poop is pretty bad.
I think just people who do that.
And then you get in your car and you're like, what's that?
Oh my
what's
god,
that?
yes.
No.
Yes.
And then it just gets shit all over your shoe, and you just left for the night, and you have no. Yeah, that's a pretty bad one.
And I can never understand why would someone do that because I have this dog for 7 years. I don't think I've ever not picked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I get that. I don't have a dog. I have cats that we rescued, and they go in the litter box. It's a little different story. But yeah, it's common courtesy. It goes back to that thing. I guess and the chewing gum and the dog, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The litter, it affects more the environment, and just like you're trashing the place you live. And where it really killed me is I'll do walks sometimes on Lake Balboa, and I'll see garbage floating in the water. And I'll walk up and I'll be the guy who's scooping up plastic bags from the edge of the water. I'm like, there's fish and there's wildlife that are going to get stuck in this and eat this or die from this, and like, you really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right? You're just going to throw it right there in the nature, It's
people are just very ignorant.
People don't understand, I think, the ripple effect.
Right.
And a ripple effect can be a very positive thing, which I've seen, like when I put a little video online and it reached someone in another country and inspired them, and it created this ripple of touching lives. You can do something that's positive or productive or creative, and you might not even know what ends up with it.
Right.
And it could, across the world, someone else could end up being changed forever because of it. Beautiful example of the ripple effect. Now there's the other side of it when people don't think about what that one, they could throw that garbage into that water, the fish eats it, it gets stuck in the fish dies, and then the animal that goes to eat the fish, that eats the dead fish, whatever, ends up ingesting the plastic, and then that poisons something else, which poisons. What I'm saying? Like the ripple effect of what one thing could do could set a chain reaction of loss of life or loss of nature in that sense on such a bigger scale. It's like you really have to understand what we do in our daily actions has a much bigger ramification than what we see in front of our little, whatever you call it, spectrum.
Yeah, so true. Very true.
Yeah.
This was amazing.
This was amazing.
I mean, we could go on and on forever because there's so many things to talk about, but...
Another episode, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Plug yourself. Like, where can we find all your stuff? And I can't wait to see your show. I'm so excited about that. I think that's going to be so amazing.
Yeah. So what I will say is, first and foremost, for those specifically cancer, I've made myself available to people struggling, and that's why I'm getting introduced to people all over. I mean, I'm talking to someone in Canada, and someone in Germany, and someone in Colorado. Like getting on phone calls. I'm happy to take a call, send some emails, whatever I can do to help. So if you or someone you know is dealing with cancer and struggling, please contact me, and I'll do everything in my power to help. Easiest way is to find me on social media, Facebook.com/Justin Sandler. Twitter and Instagram are just both @Justin Sandler. All my videos from the journey are on my YouTube channel. It's technically youtube.com/Justin J. Sandler. Because my name was taken there. But if you just do a search on YouTube...
And I'll link it all below anyway.
Oh, thank you, yeah. But if you just do a search for Justin Sandler on YouTube, you're going to see all the cancer stuff there. JustinSandler.com is where my name is. It's just, if you know my name, you're going to find me. But my website is where you can find a lot of information out and contact me on my website as well. And then that also leads us to EmbraceLoveFree.com, which is also on my website. And that's where you can learn more about the show and everything. So as I get the show dates firmed and the tickets up, it'll be on the website. As I hopefully book more speaking engagements, I'll be advertising those. And I am going to go back and, continue writing my book now that I've gotten to this point. Because I had to put that on hold. I had to say, okay, is it book or is it show? It's show. I was so drawn to the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew I couldn't do both.
Show. Yeah.
I'm pretty theatrical. So so the show's up now, and I'm gonna. But what's really cool is that the book, because of the fact that I've waited to jump in, some new things of a way of telling this, of not just my story, but of the philosophy, have come to me that I think are going to make the book that much more impactful. Yeah. Because I don't want the book just to be for cancer patients, even though it's going to be revolving around a cancer story. It's going to be teaching my philosophy, using my story as an example.
I love that.
But hey, whatever you're going through, these are the steps to overcoming your obstacles and your challenges. Embrace love.
Is the name for the book?
Embrace Love Free. Yeah. And the show is called Embrace Love Free Cancer.
Yeah. I think it's going to be great to have that book with the show eventually,
And then, the speaking engagements and all that other stuff. And in the meantime, Mary Lou and I are working on some documentary films, one about the caregivers of cancer and one about the masculine experience and male emotions. And we're writing as well, and just the creative process.
And your company name is
3 Cube Studios.
3 Cube Studios, exactly.
Yeah.
So
we're doing
you can check that out as well.
Photography and film production.
Great studio, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's good. My wife and I work together. We've been doing this since 2011 as a studio, as an LLC, and we've been as for hire and created our own projects. And my wife and I are a pretty lucky and special couple that we've been, we've both gone through our traumas in our own ways, and we've healed together and grown together. And
it's
we
so
work
beautiful,
together.
you guys.
We live together. We work together. We play together. It's very rare that we're not together. We actually have to schedule away time.
Away time.
We do like this every now and then.
And then you miss each other, right? You're
right.
Like, oh!
Everybody texts me, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, because there's really an important, alone time is important. Too much alone time, not. Alone time is important.
Yeah.
Even if it's just to sit and think, or if you want to just get wrapped up in the movies or reading or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But just having a good day or two every so often that you can create some space for yourself, I think it's really healthy. And in our relationship, we don't say goodbye at 8 in the morning and reconvene at the end of the day for work and dinner and pass out. We say good morning. I'll see you in the studio. And you did make some coffee, and or you're going to the gym now or whatever. So, yeah, you schedule it, but. I think it's another way. Like, how do you survive? We've been married now for 7.5 years and together for over 10, and you have to also schedule dates and
you do
and surprises and things like that, because you get so comfortable in your own life and schedule that you stop doing those things. And so you have to realize that life is really special, and the relationships that you've formed are really important, and it's easy to take them for granted. So you want to not do that.
Yeah.
And it's really, going through cancer really showed me so much on how to appreciate life. Give less fucks about the little things. There's some funny bits in my show about giving less fucks, by the way.
And I love that. Give less fucks.
That was one of my mottos.
Did you post a little picture with a cup? Was that you? I just saw a cup. Somebody posted a coffee cup.
So give less fuck or something. I don't know if that...
Or maybe it was the older I get, the less fucks I give, or something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah, that's the thing, is that you start caring less about the little things, but to also really care more about the big things and to really appreciate life. It's one of the things that I do, and I did especially during cancer, was a morning ritual. And it always started when I wake up. The first thing I do is Buddhist chanting, first things first, because I felt like, I need to get in alignment. And I don't want to be bombarded with emails and work and bad news, and, because all news is usually bad news, and anything else out there until I get my feet underneath me. And so I do my chanting, And then I open a journal and I write in my journal. And the first thing I write is 3 things I'm in gratitude about today, that day. Because if you don't radiate gratitude, it's really hard to bring good things to you. You have to be appreciative of what you have to have more. If you don't appreciate what you have, you're going to lose it, and then you're going to be like, shit, now I miss it, and I didn't have gratitude.
Yeah.
So I write in the journal, I have some gratitude and some free-form writing, and then I do some reading from an inspirational book, something
nice.
that's, I'm not a big fiction book reader. I get really, my ADHD doesn't let me stay focused on those, but I can stay really focused on books that are about personal development and growth.
Me too. I
and
love reading that stuff.
Yeah, it's just absorbing this wisdom. There's so much wisdom in books that most people never tap into. And so, even if it's just a few minutes, a few minutes of it every day, just really set yourself up for a day of success. And then now it's like, okay, whatever the world throws at me, I'm really grounded. And I did this in the hospital. I mean, I literally, when I was living in the hospital, I would have I set rules, I set boundaries. And for someone who struggled with codependency for much of my life, it was hard to set boundaries. But I said, this is what I did. I wake up at this time. I do my chanting, my mantras, my writing, my reading, all my stuff. I do my breakfast, my self-sponge bath because I couldn't shower up to the port. And then I get ready and I do my walks, and then I can have visitors. But I don't want anyone coming to visit me until I've done those things.
That's amazing. That's great.
And people respected that.
Yeah.
So, my visiting time started after 12. And 10 to noon was Justin's time, where even the nurses would leave me alone and the care partners would leave me alone. They knew that I needed to carve out a couple hours because you're in the hospital. Every hour someone's coming in to take your blood, check your heart, give you your meds, whatever. And it's like, you have nothing, and you need to carve out that time for growth and spirituality. And I think it's important that we give that to ourselves, because we're always everything's so, and now with our phones and everything's so fast, and it's like there's no breathing room anymore. We've gotten so technologically advanced, and it's almost like we've gone backwards now. Yeah. It's like if you don't respond to a message within 5 minutes, you lose the job or something like that. It's like, well, I was in the shower and you gave the job to someone. It's just really weird. So
people expect you to really be available 24/7.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. You need to turn that phone and put it away later.
Actually, when I work on music, sometimes I just throw the phone on the couch because I know if it's next to me, I'll keep checking it nonstop. Just all of a sudden, I'm like, what am I doing on Instagram?
Yeah, it's an impulse. You're like, what?
Yeah, I was just about to make something. What?
Yeah.
It's really, and even in the morning, you're right. I try to always do it. I have this 5-minute journal. Mm-hmm. It's 3 things you're grateful for, and then 3 things you would like to make happen today. Nice. And I love that, because it's just enough time. And then a journal, free journal as well. Yeah. And today I actually didn't do it. Sometimes I don't have time, but then I'm so mad at myself because I'm like, oh man, because it feels good to just take that time for yourself, and I think that's so important.
Yeah, but sometimes there are days that you have to be somewhere. You wake up late. You rush out the door, and you're a hot mess. But
but then I can also do it later.
You can do it later, but you have to forget. Okay, I can't beat myself up. Yeah. I made a mistake this morning, but you know what? If you're in the car and you're driving somewhere, you can still chant a little bit in the car. You can still think about things that make you grateful. Because how many people get up and get in the car and drive and get into an hour of traffic to whatever job they're doing, and they're just aggravated the entire drive. How much time of your day are you going to sit there aggravated for? But if you're sitting in your car and you're like, oh, well, the sun is shining. There's palm trees out. I live in Southern California. Oh, this is neat.
Right?
There's people going to work, instead of,
and listen to something I always try to listen to something positive, like a podcast or whatever, something
that's the greatest thing. You make your car your classroom.
Yeah, exactly. Because then it takes all the, because I have drivers, I have road rage.
Oh no!
But it's okay. I laugh at myself because I'm like, oh, you fucking asshole, and then I'm over it, But I have to let it out, and it kind of feels good. But they don't know that. But I love podcasts because then I actually enjoy, even when I'm stuck in traffic. I feel like I'm doing something. Yeah. I'm not just wasting my time.
Yeah, you're fueling your brain.
Yeah.
Because you can either be listening to something positive and spiritual, or you can turn on the news channel and hear about everybody who was murdered that day, and it's like, again, nothing you can do about it. All you're going to do is just going to feel more pain because they put it in your face. Then you think everyone's getting murdered everywhere, and you feel unsafe going anywhere. Yeah, it's a whole different world. But it's a great tool, and then for all the listeners out there too, it's called Hoopla.
Hoopla.
Hoopla. It's an app. It's a free app. All you need is a library card. I have a Los Angeles library card. You go in the Hoopla app, you put in your library card number, and the last 4 numbers of your phone number is your PIN. And you get free access. And then you can check out, when I say check out, you digitally check out audiobooks, ebooks, music, movies.
Nice!
For free. And you can rent 21 titles a month. And when the month's up, if you have not finished reading or listening to that book, you just recheck it out. But you don't have to go to the library to return it.
Awesome.
There's no late fees. It's just right there, and it's a free app.
The digital age.
When I found that, and I realized I didn't have to keep paying Audible $15 a month, I could find almost every book I wanted to was on there. It really was a game changer. So check out Hoopla. It's your gift from me. Free inspirational material. And they have nonfiction and fiction and all kinds of stuff. So whatever your thing is, you can still get great wisdom out of a fictional book. They're great writers will storytell with messages and learning too. So feed your mind with good stuff.
Yeah.
Always feed your mind with good stuff. So thank you.
This was amazing. This was so amazing and so inspiring. And I look forward to your show and probably have you back at some point. Talk about more stuff. There's so much to talk about.
We can go to a whole other topic.
I know.
But thank you so much for having me, and thank you out there for listening and being part of it. I appreciate you all. I am in gratitude.
Same here. Thank you.